Here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain. I would like to thank my patron supporters over at patreon.com/bsmpod for continuing to support me and what I'm doing. And that is actually kind of cool because, well, we didn't talk about this, but this is, wait, turn this way. This is someone who is actually a supporter of patreon.com/bsmpod. Neil is a supporter for a little while now and very appreciative of that. When I was at Pound, it was crazy. You were running the pools that my friend Drew was in. It was just like, you were said, I'm Neil, and I'm going, I've seen that name extremely recently. Where have I seen it before? And I felt awful that I didn't recognize your name right away, but we got to catch up a little bit there at Pound, and I obviously wanted to have you on pretty soon after that. So I'm very appreciative of you joining me now. I hope that you are having a good evening so far. How's it going with you, Neil?
Yeah, it's going well. It was fun seeing you at Pound and talking a little bit. That was a fun pool to TO as well. There was Mango in there, and also Professor Peen. I think your friend did pretty well. Lots of fun sets at Pound to watch in person too.
Yes, you're right. Drew was in my pool with IBDW, and it was Professor Peen who was in Mango's pool, and they actually did end up playing on stream. That was really fun. But no, it's like Mango casually walks up to you and is like, where do they want me? And you're like, yeah, they're going to have you on stream. Of course you're going to have Mango on stream. That's just fun. And it's the three of us. And that's when I asked Mango for a picture because, I mean, I'm not going to not ask for one. I won't ask for a picture in the future. I've gotten the one. I'm good. I don't need to like repeat the process. Maybe next time I'll tell them that I actually have a bit of a podcast thing going on. You know, come on. That's step 2, long time from now, but really, really cool, right? I know that the Baltimore Weekly that you TO is still somewhat new, only did its 10th iteration as of right now. So we'll definitely want to talk about that, but I wanted to hear about how you got into Melee first, since I do enjoy hearing origin stories.
Yeah, of course. I have a pretty unoriginal origin story, I guess. I'm definitely a doc kid. I'm pretty much maybe like a year late doc kid. There are some friends of mine in the high school I went to who, through conversation, it's like they're pretty good at Smash. I was like, you know, how good can you be? I can beat level 9 CPUs, sort of thing. But they showed me competitive Smash. They showed me the doc, watched the doc. I think it'd be around 8 years ago now. The first tournament I remember watching, I didn't watch it live, but it was right after I watched the doc. It was the first tournament that was out on VODs on YouTube, was MLG 2014, which was a great tournament to start with. It was like PBMD, and then the newer like Hacks and Leffen were all there. But after that, I continued to play with them throughout, I guess it would be junior, senior year, high school, and into college, down in Williamsburg, Virginia, the alma mater of Vlad, and some other great MDVA players. I was lucky enough to get in there and played some Melee for 4 years there, and now I'm up in Baltimore, and I am started up TOing here, and it's been great. Lots of welcoming people in the MDVA Melee scene. So
Yeah, so Virginia is just a humongous state. I think that people who are not familiar with East Coast, they hear MDVA and they go, well, I guess both of those states must be fairly small for them to be sort of smushed together. But really, I feel like MDVA refers to the northern half of Virginia, Fairfax and Alexandria, DC. Like, we're talking about those kind of places, but what would you say is the MDVA region as you know it?
yeah, it's very segmented. The biggest conglomerate of high level players are definitely in the northern Virginia, southern Maryland area, you know, the DC suburb, because there's just the most, you know, populous area of the region, and then it's pretty wealthy as well, so you get a lot more people who know about competitive gaming there, and like there are venues like the Cave Gaming, like gaming lounge sorts of spaces. But there are lots of other regions up in Baltimore. I've been surprised how many people are here that just don't make the drive out to Xanadu, which is fair. I mean, driving's annoying, but there's a lot of people here in the city, and I think in northern Maryland and into Delaware as well. But Virginia is huge. I down in Williamsburg got to see a lot more of the Virginia scene. There's the Richmond scene, which is pretty big. Milkman's been there for a while, and Red, and a lot of other great players. And then there's Southern Virginia, which you call Northern Virginia Nova, and then Southern Virginia Sova. I don't know why. I guess it's a little catchy, but they're a great scene. They definitely were on the grind when I was in college. They had Beezim and a Puff player, Love, who's changed his tag a few times. I don't know what it is now, but they were improving really fast. I think they both won MDVA Arcadians, so it was a cool place to be in. But you really don't get to see people in Western Virginia too much because they're honestly closer to Kentucky. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
region is pretty divided, and you're not going to be able to make 9-hour car rides to pretend like you're in the same region all the time.
Also, West Virginia is bordering Ohio, right? So, like, reasonably speaking, not that you would get up to northeastern Ohio. I know there's events up there, like Rube's Day, but there's got to be stuff in like southern Ohio, the stuff, melee stuff that's happening. Although I say that now, I actually don't know what the truth is there.
Yeah, I'd assume Ohio's big too. I've never made it out to a West Virginia tournament myself, but I know they have a pretty consistent scene and at least one of the colleges there, so it's big. But I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of the different regions, so shout outs to
I'm just curious about your perspective on there was so the Doc Kid stuff. There was a lot of melee happening in schools and colleges, and I don't know because I never went to college about what it was like. So I'm interested in your perspective about where you feel it is now based on what you hear versus what you knew it was back when you were actually when you were actually in college. So I almost wonder if there seems to be a sort of a sentiment that I see every once in a while that melee is not as popular in schools, but I don't know because I do see not flourishing. What's the right word? I do see locals that are happening in schools even still that, that draw the people that are there. They show up.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's definitely evolved and changed a fair bit throughout the years. I think definitely the doc was a huge explosion. I think being a little later to it, and I was just I missed Arjun Erlad on his way out, and he kind of founded the current version of the William and Mary Smash Club and did a lot to advertise it. So there was a big boom there just because the doc, a lot of top players, and I think they were getting like consistent 20s, 30s at some bigger events. Just
Are you still there? Because your camera disappeared, but I think you're still on the call. And now as I'm speaking and you're not responding presently, what? And now my computer is starting to do interesting things. Wait, I think I know what's happening. I think my internet is giving out presently. Doing that thing where the router just totally goes dark. Yes. Apparently the Discord logo is applied. Still says that I have network access. try Top Gun Maverick star Val Kilmer's daughter says watching his not loading. There you are. We are having connection issue. Also, Val Kilmer is still. Fun fact: Val Kilmer. Why do I know these things? Val Kilmer was, I guess you could say, one of the main characters from the movie Willow, which came out, I want to say late 80s, early 90s, Steven Spielberg film, if I recall correct. Oh, hey. Oh, you're back. Are we back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry that I'm going to go ahead and blame myself on that one because I think my router gave out. It does that every once in a while. It just hasn't done it during a recording before, believe it or not.
No problem. That's unlucky.
It do be that way sometimes. But I think we're all the way back. I was just getting into a tangent about Val Kilmer because that was the person who came up on the home screen of Microsoft Edge. They have like a whole home screen that just blasts you with stuff. And I said, oh, if this screen's still up, am I really having network issues? So I clicked on the article and it would not come up. I said, okay, well, that's it then. I'm sorry that you were cut off midstream there talking about how you came in after Laud was gone, but that by the time he left, it was more or less a flourishing tournament scene where you went to school. So what do you know what it's like right now? I'm just curious about, because the pandemic and also you have Slippy, and of course, if you can do that, I think a lot of people need like an extra reason to go to stuff. Wheat talks about it all the time for the Waiting for Game podcast by Melee. Shout out. You need an extra reason to go to stuff since you play Melee from home quite easily.
Yeah, no, I think, when I came in, it was big, and then it started to dwindle as that sort of, I mean, Smash has great name recognition, but I don't think it was there for everyone coming in. They would try Ultimate first, and it's, you can convert people, but Ultimate was doing a lot better when I was running the club. And I think now it's still a little less than in the heydays, but clubs in bigger universities and around cities I'm sure are still doing well. But I do think there will be a boom from Slippy, just because I think it's brought a lot of people back into the game, and discoverability has been really good, just because it provides this it really lowers the bar of entry, and lets people practice and get competitive without having to go out or having to spend a lot of money getting a disc or something like that. So I think college scenes will resurge. I think a lot of them are still doing well, and I honestly, for college, I don't think Slippy is going to be the biggest competition. I think since you're in a walking distance from where the tournament's going to be held, and your dorm internet is probably really bad, you're probably going to prefer to play a tournament than to play Slippy. But I do think the Slippy competition with locals is an interesting topic. I think locals are going to do fine, but I think it's a little too early to say, since some people, we're still having to deal with COVID and all that sort of thing. So I don't think everything's back in full force as it will be eventually. But
the big thing for me in terms of outside of school locals, so 717 Melee is a great example of this, because we are struggling to find a venue right now to actually have the local. But when we were doing it towards the end of 2021, we would have an average of 8 people, and these are all people who are okay. So we have a couple of college students from Millersville University, which is one of the bigger schools in Lancaster County, but we would also just have at least half or more of the people being out of school, people like me, or people who've already graduated college or university and are just now big time chilling in the workforce or unemployment. You get it. And I felt like what mattered a lot for us was just player saturation, because we will have maybe like, I would say somewhere in about 20 to 30 active people on our Discord for the region of 717 on the 717 Melee Discord. And I say that loosely. You've been in the server, you know that it's not super active, but
Sure.
we have people who are around, but they have to travel such and such a distance. A few of them actually travel from outside of Lancaster County, so 30, 40 plus miles away, just to come out to the local when we were having it. And that's cool, but I felt like if we had more players, period, some of them could miss out on this weekend or next weekend, but the people that would show up would be at least 8 entrants or at least 12. So I felt like we need to like evangelize Melee in Lancaster County, go to Millersville and take over the ultimate tournament bracket space and say, we're going to run a Melee tournament today, gamers. They would all go, ugh, that's the old one, but win one or two of them over, hopefully. I don't know. But right now we're still in the looking for a venue stage, and it might be that I'm going to actually possibly help run an online sort of like a bi-weekly or something to that effect. I don't know yet, but the TO, Jay Bobison, and I have been talking, because I'm like, I feel like we should start doing something, because it's going to get close to a year soon since we've actually done anything. So I'd love to help out. I just need to figure out what it looks like. So no commitments, but I guess for anyone who's listening from 717, continue to stay tuned.
Yeah, no, it's great that you're helping out with that. And it's definitely tough in terms of attendance, just running any sort of event. I think no matter the quality that you run it at, the biggest reason people won't come is just, week to week there are conflicts, like things come up in life. So no matter the pool of people you have, you're always going to miss out on at least like a third to maybe a half of them. Like even if they're motivated to come, things can come up, and it's good to run it consistently and maybe bi-weekly, give people opportunities to do those other things and schedule around it. But no matter what, it's hard to pull the whole region out to any sort of thing. So yeah, hopefully you can convert some of those ultimate players. I think college is a great place to do it, just because everyone will be in that same space and there's lots of free time. But it is, so there's some adverse reaction to switching to Melee. I'm sure it's a different game, no doubt.
So I'm interested in hearing about what led you to want to help out with TOing, because I think I've started to suspect that more than just a 1% of Melee players end up becoming TOs. I think it might be slightly bigger. Still vastly outnumbered by the average entrant, the average Melee player. Half of them don't even realize what a TO is based off of the interactions that I see online. But I'm interested in hearing about how you went from playing the game to starting to help out with making a bracket happen, or, you didn't immediately go from doing what you're doing now, starting at the beginning. You didn't say, okay, and now I'm doing that. There's an evolution there.
Yeah, for sure. Starting up, I would definitely just be going, to my friend's house, playing there, and then we'd go to the cave sometimes on Mondays, and it was cool to be in that tournament environment. Kind of a brutal bracket. I would almost always go 0-2 or 1-2. Still probably would if I went to the cave today. But I enjoyed that space, and then going into Smash at college at William and Mary, I was probably around that time the most passionate about competition and improving and just playing the game. So I wanted to be involved. I wanted to keep the club alive, so I did a lot of the lifting of the CRTs and the organizing. I was trying to help out pretty much as soon as I got there, and then that kind of continued. I was definitely carrying CRTs from freshman year all the way to senior year. By senior year, the club had bought a little cart that we took on elevators, so that was nice to not go 2 flights of stairs with CRTs. But
Uh,
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed creating the space. Getting there like early, setting up all the TVs where I wanted them, and like it's kind of like fun to to optimize that sort of thing, and to just learn little things to improve TOing. Even those locals were probably like um 12 people on a good day a lot of times. But you got to create a space, um and kind of be in control of that 3 hours or whatever, and it was rewarding there. And then going on in life, this tournament in Baltimore, I was kind of just missing that. I'm a graduate student here in Baltimore at Johns Hopkins, and the Melee Club here is pretty much dead. There's 2 guys that play Melee on campus that I know of, but most of the people in the area are like college alums or a little older. So since I didn't want to do it on campus, and they were pretty strict, you couldn't reserve campus space, I just kind of started emailing around to venues I looked up, and the first one I emailed was like a board game D&D sort of bar place, which is very cool. It's No Land Beyond. You should check it out if you're into Magic or anything like that, and you're near Baltimore. But they got back to me immediately, and we're excited about it, and it's a great space. So that kind of just fell into my lap. I looking for venues for bigger monthly sort of tournaments. It's been hard, but that was very easy. And then I just kind of got to scratch that itch, and it's been fun. It's been very tiring again, moving TVs and stuff, but I don't know, it's just satisfying when it's all over to know that like that experience was there, and it wouldn't have been there without you, which I guess is kind of egotistical way to look at it, but it's true. So
well, when you think about the average daily footprint of the things you do, and especially for you, Neil, you're not really big on the internet as far as I can tell. Very tricky. It's like, where is Neil on the Twitter? There are a lot of Neils, and so I'm just so I'm basically trying to say that if you run a tournament and you feel like you did a good job, what's the problem? Because you've done something that can create a memory that somebody carries for the rest of their life, or at the very least, someone could look back on all the tournament experiences that they had collectively and realize, I am a better player or a better person because that space was there.
Right.
So you're doing awesome things. I'm just so incredibly jealous that all you had to do was just send out a couple of emails. We've done that. We even did like there was one venue that Jesse, who Jay Bobson, we share the same name, but Jesse spells his name with an I, which is weird. But
so
he told the whole Discord, yo, there's this venue really trying to get in. I think if we all email this email and say how cool it would be to have tournaments there, that they would let us in. And we did that. And it still didn't work.
Yeah, I have no advice for you. Unfortunately, I don't have any experience convincing venues, but it sounds hard.
I would say the other reason why is because Jesse wants to try to make sure to enforce masks and everything else like that in Lancaster County. It depends on who you ask, but I would say the majority of Lancaster says masks. What? Yeah. I mean, we're beyond that, right? That's what most of them would tell you. So it do be that way sometimes. I'm hoping. Okay, so more you questions. I wanted to ask you about, now that you are doing the weekly, I know you had invited me to I think it was maybe the first or second monthly, and you were talking about the challenge of finding bigger spaces. I guess if you're trying to do a monthly as well as a weekly, do you just look at it as building one thing on top of another? Like, why did you decide to also try to run a slightly bigger tournament to try to get more people into Baltimore, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying I guess one of the most fun things I think personally in my experience about TOing is like the planning side of things. Like I really like to see a space and think about running a tournament there and like doing the branding, like making a logo for it and just like planning it out in my mind. The day of is kind of stressful for me a lot of times.
Yeah.
Like the stream won't be working and I have to, put someone in bracket who's 10 minutes late, that sort of thing can be exhausting. But I really enjoy like, you know, fantasizing about a major I'm going to run or something. And the weekly has been great and it's a really cool space, but it's probably I could probably cap it out. I think I have it set to be capped at like 32, but somewhere around there, maybe a little less even, would be the max I could have in that space. And I wanted to do something a little bigger, just because it's fun to have higher level competition, more people, and just to create that bigger space for more people to meet each other. And the weekly I'm running is on Thursdays, so a lot of people that I'm reaching out to while advertising, they have commitments every Thursday, or they work, and the drive to Baltimore can be pretty riddled with traffic going around DC. So they're not going to make it out on a Thursday, but if I can hold a monthly on a Saturday, I can advertise to a much broader pool of people, since they don't have as many commitments and they could, drive to get there at 1 or whenever singles will start. So yeah, getting that event space, I ended up doing it at Johns Hopkins campus once they reopened to club events. But yeah, to find a bigger event space, if you're looking for something free, which is obviously ideal, you're very limited to like universities, or maybe if you have a church connection or something. But besides that, you're looking at event spaces that are marketed as event spaces are like, generally things that are used as wedding venues or something like that, and they cost thousands of dollars to rent in a day. You have to get creative to get around using those sort of spaces. But yeah, for the monthly, I was able to get a big space at the university, and I hope to keep running those. It ran very well. It was the first one. Bones came out and won, so that was cool. Didn't have. I guess he did drop a game to the Brig, so he had some competition, but it was pretty clean win for him. But yeah, I hope to kind of just build up my rep as a TO here in Baltimore and run good events, and then hopefully do a regional eventually would be the goal. Get people to drive out from a little further away and do probably one big one-day event. I don't think I'd ever want to run anything 2 days. I'd have to get a lot of other people involved to feel comfortable doing that, but it'd be really cool to run a regional here in this area. And just it's fun to think about, can I do it, what would it be like, that sort of thing. So that kind of keeps me going.
I am interested in about like, okay, so Gene Dalla just ran Creed, Philly's first regional in a really long time, and had 84 entrants. So, really, really awesome to see Jersey and Philly come out. I think maybe, Toussaint was down there. So that would also be New York City and New York in general. So that's really, really cool. For Baltimore, you could still get New Jersey, Delaware, and even New York City people who want to go crazy, and then have a little bit more access to MDVA. I think Baltimore, it's sort of like Philly, where it hasn't had a historically strong scene, but I would have told you 2 years ago that New York City didn't necessarily have a strong scene either. They had weeklies and events that would happen, but they never had anything that felt like even a regional. It would just be all weeklies and monthlies. And I'm not saying that to diss anyone, by the way. Okay, settle down. I just think about why are we having all these big majors and super majors out in the West, out in California and everything else like that? Look, I get it. There's a lot of good players there, but East Coast has a lot of good players too. And
Yeah,
it's funny.
sure.
The discourse nowadays is, yes, the East Coast is the best coast. We have like the most grinders out on this side of the country, blah, blah, blah. But where are our big events? So thankfully, stuff like Pound, Shine, SmashCon, and then hopefully something that comes out of Philly like Creed, something that might come out of Baltimore someday. But I'm sure that Gene Dalla, who had a lot of help for Creed, I mean, the shout out thread, yeah, a lot of people that helped out with making that event happen and getting a space. All that is, there's so much to go into that. So for you, you're still a few levels back. But when you look at an event like Creed, do you wish you were there right now, or do you feel comfortable about like what your current trajectory is?
Oh, I definitely feel comfortable where I am now. I attended Creed. It was great. There were a few other MDVA guys there that made the drive. For me, it was like an hour and a half. So yeah, Philly very central. Baltimore also, pretty north up in MDVA. So you're right. It could definitely bridge the gap for a lot of regions, which is a great thing about the East Coast. Is a lot of these cities are just within 3 hours away on 95. So definitely no reason people can't make it out to these bigger events, and you should try to do so to support TOs like Gene Dalla. But yeah, that was a great event. I'm definitely, I just did the first monthly, and I am always hungry to do more, but I think I'll want to do more of those. And do
well,
that
yeah, no, I'm sure you would have to do monthlies for, I don't want to like trajectory for you, but I thought there's probably like a year's worth of those to do before you can start to plan a regional. I mean, part of it involves finding a space that is going to work with you and that you have results to back you up, not just saying, oh, I've ran one of these before and we had 24 entrants, and they go 24. Wow. That's yeah, you could really average out the venue fee to like $200 a person to pay for it. Yeah.
No, yeah, it'll definitely take a bit before I can do anything bigger. But yeah, I'm definitely happy where I am now. I'm trying new things and trying to work with, I still am having a little stream problems. So hopefully the next few monthlies will have a good stream. And then I'm getting I've put USBs through the Nintendo version of, or was it the Slippy version of Nintendo? I guess you can record all the Slippy data from a full session onto an external drive.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I still have all the files that I need to sort out, but I have them all recorded from my last few tournaments. And I'm going to put them up on some shared Google Drive or something like that. So I think that is it's an incentive. It's just little things that you can add to your tournament to get people motivated to come out to it. Running amateur brackets has been a lot of fun, and I think enhances the experience for newer players. So just little optimizations are always fun to do along the way.
When you hear Ryobeat on Radio Melee being asked about how to run good tournaments in NYC, and Ryobeat is just going on and on and on about all the different things that you can do and all the different things that Ryobeat does, and I just feel like Ryobeat is somehow 5 people in one person, given the output that he seems to make on a regular basis. So shout outs to Ryobeat, shout outs to NYC Melee, but it's a long list. Even to the point of saying, when I see a new person, I make sure that people go up to that new person and ask to play games, make them feel welcome, ask them to join the Discord, ask them to follow the Twitter. It's just like, Ryobeat's got like a welcome convoy for all the new people that show up. And I know that doesn't happen day one, but like that's where that, like, Ryobeat is sort of also another person that you can look to on this side of the country, at least, where you can see there's obviously a lot of steps in between where Ryobeat is and where somebody like you is. You get it. But I'm just curious, aside from Slippy files or trying to have amateur brackets like you were talking about, when it's just 12 people, are you trying to like, what are you trying to do to make sure everybody feels like this is cool? I want to come back to this tournament next week where there will probably be 12 or less people competing in Super Smash Brothers Melee.
To be fair, I haven't got under 16 yet. It's been around 20 to 18, but it's like, yeah, it's not huge.
Okay, so you had more than 12. Where did 12 come from? Did I say 12 or did you say 12?
12 was probably at William and Mary. It was pretty.
Okay, yes, that's where it came from.
It was like, yeah,
let's go, Baltimore. Let's go, 20 people.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Showing up. And I've been really impressed that I think I've counted up now, and there's like more than 100 unique entrants in my tournament. Over 10 different tournaments.
Well.
So there's a broad pool of people coming out. But yeah, it's been really great. I don't know. I've been listening to your podcast, obviously, and then Radio Melee, and just I'm a consumer of Melee content, and I think there's just been like a surge of this TO conversation, and it's been fun to just soak it in and to hear everyone say shout outs to TOs all the time, keeps me going. But it's just been a lot of great advice, and I don't know how Ryby does it. I think one of the biggest things I've taken from all that information is, you need you need people to help you out, because I say hi to people. I try to have a little small talk with the newer people, especially. But if they're coming in and paying, and then it's 10 minutes to the tournament, and I'm the one seating and trying to get the stream to work and that sort of thing, it's like I can't I can't I don't have physically time to have a full conversation with them, and I do feel bad about that. But I've been getting other people. Petito comes out and brings a lot of TVs. He's been running brackets for me, and that's been very helpful. But yeah, in terms of things I'm looking to do to make people's experience better at my local, I've done this from the start, but it's something I think should be ran at every local. And it's a way to get competitive sets to always be best of 5, no matter what round of bracket they're played in. Because it's hosted at a bar, but it's a weekday, so it is on a time crunch. They do their last call around 9:30 or so and want me out by 10:30. So I can't make the whole bracket best of 5. I would like to, but I don't. But what I do is a format called Flex, like Flex best of 3 / best of 5. And that format works that is, if you play it like a best of 3, and if it's a 2-0, you go and you report it as a 2-0 to the TO. But if it goes to 1-1, it becomes a best of 5. So that player who won the game 2 to make it 1-1, they still get 1 ban. So each player in the set will get 1 ban total. But after that, there's no bans, and it's a best of 5. And it's really fun to see, these round 1 sets where it's, like the 8th and 9th seed. I guess that'd probably be round 2. But in a normal bracket, that'd probably be a 2 out of 3 at a local. And that will often go to best of 5. And it's, you also get to see like the 15th seed versus the 12th seed go to best of 5 in round 1 losers. So that's been fun. People seem receptive to that. I picked that up. I think someone told me that Bones invented that rule set, but I think Juicebox told me that, or it was something that came up in college. But I've really liked it, and I've been running with that. And yeah, other things I can do. I'm always trying to think of more to do. I the last suggestion I'm thinking of doing in my last monthly was Rybeat said, free food will always get people to come. So I'll probably advertise pizza that I can just buy with people's venue fee or something. I don't know.
I mean, I was already wanting to go down to a monthly whenever it next happens. Actually, do you have a date for the next monthly that you're trying to run down there?
I have to coordinate with the school to see if the space is open in the summer, but it'll probably be the middle of what's the next month? June, right?
June. Yep.
Yeah, probably around the late teens.
Noted. But free food, I mean, free food, that's always nice. That is always nice. I think the last big component is that like social media stuff, and I know you're trying to get the stream to work, so I'm sure you'll want to have that all nailed down. But then the next thing is like getting people to like talk about the fact that they're there, and have the at Baltimore Melee, which you can follow right now on Twitter, have that putting out at least a few things, if only a top 8 bracket. The top 8 bracket picture, everybody loves that, because you like seeing your name up there and be like, I got 5th place. This is so cool. I haven't placed that high ever. That kind of deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. Hearing Rybeat talk about that was also very intimidating. I felt called out because he said like, don't use Twitter to just post the Smash GG and then the top 8 graphic, which is all I had on my Twitter at the time for the tournament. But I'm pretty new to Twitter. This Twitter I made for the weekly is the first Twitter I've ever really had, and I've just like spam followed all the Smash people in the region I know, and seeing Smash discourse on there a little bit has been interesting. Definitely can see how it would be a time sink, but I'm trying to use it just to advertise when I can. But yeah, I his advice to like, not just post the bare bones bracket link, that sort of thing, but to give it like some sort of personality and to get the players there to post it. It is pretty intimidating to me. For the monthly, I tried to post some more varied advertising, but I will try in the future to get more on top of it, and like record things and take pictures at the venue, that sort of thing. I'm sure to show the space.
You just need a social media person who likes posting all the time anyway. Just get them to do it, And I really liked Ryobeat's point of saying you don't have to do it all yourself. Like, have people just put it out on whatever platform they're using. I'm here. I'm having a good time. Like that means a lot as well. I thought that was interesting because I would have said before listening to that Ryobeat Radio Melee podcast recording in particular, you just want to make sure that the NorCal Melee Twitter handle or the Baltimore Melee the Baltimore Melee weekly tag is doing something. It has to do something. What that is, whatever. Just have it do something. But Rybeat's like, it's got to be specific, and it can't just be Smash GG. Sorry, Start GG and the top 8 bracket.
Right.
But you were talking about seeing discourse on the Twitter. Yes, it's super fun. I waste a lot of time on Twitter. That's definitely something that I actually don't feel bad about just yet, because when I see something that I go, like I talk about it with Hada, and then I feel better after that.
Sure.
For the what's happening in Melee, our recordings with Hey Hada. Shout outs to that, by the way.
Yeah, no, those have been great. Little digest of the week. Definitely much appreciated. It's so much that goes on. I mostly just spam followed people and then muted them because it was overwhelming, the feed of things coming in.
Yes, well, people also, I mean, this is Take City. Because of the limited characters, you have to say what you want to say, and you just got to say it. You can't provide context. And if there's something that I love perhaps more than anything, is providing context to things. So I'm not often throwing out my opinion because I go, well, I have a podcast, so I can just talk about it as much as I want to. And for the people who really want to know, they'll come and find it. So it works two ways. Like, I'm not exposing myself to all the anime profile pic people. They will never ever listen to the podcast. So I don't have to deal with their blowback. And then I can add context to stuff. Wow. What?
Yeah.
But yet I just love seeing other people's takes. I don't know. I'm so weird with that, but at the risk of sounding like too like meta or however you want to phrase it, like, how did you originally find my podcast in particular? Just because it's the probably the least like visible podcast out of all the Melee ones that are out there.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that question, because that's something I always ask people. that come to my tournament is like, where, how do you find this tournament? Because
Where'd you come from?
I'm posting in all these Discords, I'm posting on these old abandoned Facebook Melee pages. And I'm like, where are people checking for Melee? Because it's not a very unified scene right now. I guess Twitter is the one that most people are on, but yeah, I found the podcast on Spotify. I had listened to what is it, Mango and the 6'4", one of those episodes on Spotify a while back.
While they were all in the US. Sorry, Leffen in particular. Come on.
Yeah.
0.5.
I mean,
come on.
I think that thing's dead, but that podcast put it in their algorithm, and a pretty good algorithm. It recommended me, Radio Melee when they started putting that on Spotify, and your podcast were the top 2 recommended, I think. And now I see all the other great Smash podcasts recommended on Spotify. So, yeah, shout outs to those uploads now with video. I've seen.
Yeah, so I did that because I accidentally discovered that it's a thing on the Anchor podcast platform. I said, oh, I could have been doing this for a while, but eventually it will be the move, because at some point I want to have ads on the YouTube uploads, not because I'm like a selfish money grubbing person, but just because I want to get to 1,000 subs and be able to like do ads, because I want to tell an editor out there, grow my YouTube channel. Here, you can have access to all the ad revenue. You can have all of it. I don't care. Just make it grow, and you can.
Right.
So as far as you take it is as much money that you would earn off of that. That's my brilliant idea right now. Sort of the Ludwig style. Although I think Ludwig did do quite a bit on his own before eventually getting Slime and everybody else into the fold. Now they're like 15 plus people on Mogul Moves. That's pretty crazy. But like that's what I want to do. I want to like tell an editor someday, make my baby a Samson baby, a strong baby.
No, I think that's great. Cool. And yeah, it's such a weird game with all those algorithms, but now that I found you, you're popping up on my YouTube and all that sort of thing. So I hope everything's growing and the numbers continue to rise.
Yeah, and I'm just most curious, and this is still indulging me, so please forgive me if that's starting to rub on you a little bit. But like, why the Patreon? Because I don't usually ask people why. I just thank them for doing it, and I assume eventually I'll find out. Because I don't need to know. I just need to say thank you, because any buddy who subs to the Patreon, like, obviously had to fall down an extremely long rabbit hole. Like, I talk about the fact that I have a Patreon, yeah, but then you actually have to be listening to the podcast in the first, which is obviously very visible. But was it because of the TO stuff, or?
I mean, yeah, I appreciated the product in general, and I do a lot. I do a fair bit of driving, and I've listened to audiobooks and podcasts on my phone doing just all sorts of work for a while. So when I get into something like that, I kind of binge it. So I listened to a lot, and I felt, I enjoyed it. It was Smash. It was, small. I wanted to kind of give back and raise it up. And then, the perks help. Asking questions to people is cool. That sort of thing. But yeah, I canceled some monthly subscription for like some school related thing. I was like, now I have $10 a month. I did you on Patreon, and then I did $5 to Slippy. I felt like I was doing something. So
yes, of course, when you support Fizzy, you support Melee, and that's so cool. I will always tell people, sub to Fizzy on Patreon. Oh, that's so cool that you did that. Yes, that's awesome. Very humbling that you would choose me, but I am glad, because there's somebody out there who realizes, wait, there's an idiot who's uploading more than one of these a week, and I have so much driving, or I just don't want to listen to this certain thing. For me, I started listening to a lot of podcasts a while back, because eventually I was going, I'm sick and tired of listening to the same music that I enjoy listening to. I'm not great at branching out into stuff, but then I tripped onto a podcast not related to Melee, but I listened to it for a while and I'm going, I think I like hearing people talk about a certain subject. They can go into tangent and rabbit holes if they want to. That's the whole point of a podcast. But then eventually it led to Melee podcasts and I was like, oh, this is cool, which is why I started doing it. Because I felt empowered to. Shout outs to Wannabe's podcast and also Alston Melee podcast. They each of those people groups made me feel like, oh, okay, you can give this a whirl. You can just all you got to do is just try it, just do it. But then, okay, let me almost lost it. Nope, lost it. I got to bring it back. But basically, there are people out there who are like you who have very special, specific needs. I don't want to listen to my audiobooks today, nor do I want to listen to music today. I want to listen to a podcast about Melee. So there, we're here. We made it. Yay.
Yeah. No, I feel very similarly. You know, I like my music a lot, but you really can't make a playlist big enough that, you know, you'll shuffle it for more than a month and not get sick of it. So
and then shout outs to Pew Pew You, to Kevin, who somehow seemingly is able to listen to a couple of new albums a week. And just I don't know. I can't do that. But yeah. I can listen to Melee podcasts. So I listen to all of them. I listen to Radio Melee. I listen to Waiting for Game. And now that Alston Melee's back, I listen to Alston Melee. It's super exciting. And I want the 6-4 to come back. Sadly, not going to be a thing. You're probably right in saying that, because they could have done it while Leffen was in the US, but they didn't. It was very sad. Yeah. You know what's? It's just so fun to have a 2-hour or so recording of Leffen saying something and Mango just laughing and saying no or yes, specifically to make Leffen mad, and it's just so fun.
It's true. It's rare those times in Melee that, you know, you get to see these top players' personalities a lot individually on their streams, but it's like sort of events like that one interview at the Red Bull event, like the gods and gatekeepers, where all the gods except HBox were in that room, and you get get to see those personalities interact. It's like, it's very different. Like, that was a big thing with the Summit Couch. Recently, I think, you know, they're keeping more commentators on there. I don't think you get a couch of 5 top players anymore, but because, you know, maybe the commentary stays a little more consistent that way, but
on topic,
it's great,
if you will. Yeah.
It's great to just see those personalities interact with each other, because it's not very often you get that side of Melee, unless you're like physically there, I guess.
Yeah, and that's all fine and well for the people who are physically there, but what about the stream monsters? What about people like me? I want to hear I want to see like these interactions happen. I don't know. It's not because I want to be in a parasocial relationship with these people. I just think that Mango's a funny person. Put him together with other top players, and they're getting into specific stuff, and you can tell he's like, this is whatever, dude. Like, and I know he likes talking about Melee. I know he does. But I think the way that he likes to talk about Melee is so different than what would be considered the norm, I guess. It's like Microsoft Paint and saying, I feel like this will work. This should work. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Or it does. Oh, that's cool. I think that's Mango's way. Most people are trying to say frame data and positive on shield, negative on shield. He's like, okay, cool. But so, yeah, this isn't necessarily my speed.
Yeah, I love his Microsoft Paint drawings. And then there's that, like, those clips where he, like, physically gets up and acts out things on stream, like laser camping or something. It's he has a very unique way of putting his thoughts on Melee out into the world, but he clearly has extreme wealth of knowledge, so however he does it, it's fun to see.
When you get to captaining a pool at Pound, is it because you were going to go anyway and you decided I should volunteer? I can get in front of more faces easily that way because they all have to come to me because I'm holding the phone with the login power to advance these players in bracket. Was that the main inspiration behind doing the captaining of the pool at Pound, or was it because everybody was contacted by the head TO in the MDVA and East Coast area saying, All right, you got any people who we can trick into doing this? Because TOs support TOs, am I right? Like, I don't even know how it happens for these majors because nobody's getting paid to captain a pool, or I'd be very surprised. So that was time that you gave. I'm just about how that came to be.
Yeah, no, I was definitely gonna go already anyway. To have, you know, a super major top 8 in terms of just maybe not in terms of attendance, but definitely in terms of the top 8. It was like, you know, maybe
Yeah.
7 out of 10 of the top 10 at the time were there. To have that in your backyard, like 35 minutes away, I was definitely gonna go anyway. I had seen posts in like discords looking for volunteers, and you know, I was definitely considering it. It's a good way to, you know, meet other TOs and that sort of thing, talk to, be in that sort of space and see how it works. But I think the thing that pushed me over the edge was Hat, who was the head melee TO for Pound, came to my local in Baltimore because he's pretty close by, and he was like, "You should do it. You should volunteer." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess." I guess if you still need volunteers, I'd be happy to. I think generally the people who are doing it are just, you know, they're not all TOs. They're just people passionate in the region. The VGBC seemed to have a pretty good event running Discord with like a lot of people from Glitch and Ultimate side of things, and then they just kind of found some melee people to from the area that were passionate and, you know, have some time. And they did. They paid like, oh, I forget now. I'm gonna feel bad, but it was pretty good. It was like $10 or $15 for a block or an hour. It was. I got $30, I think. Yeah, and I TO'd 2 pools, so I was surprised that that was a thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. See, Hungry Box, it doesn't matter if you make $800 or $1,800. All that matters is that people like Neil who keep your tournaments in operation get paid $30.
Yeah, no.
There you go.
I don't think I did, you know, any work that deserved the money, to be honest. But I guess that's just kind of the mindset we get in with the melee scene and not having any money in it. But
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, no, I definitely get big imposter. So I know. No, I'm interested in hearing. This is something that I've been thinking about, and like, you know, those sort of conversations or interactions that you have where you can't get it out of your brain afterwards, and you go, "I messed up." Like, I don't know if I messed up, kind of a thing. Yeah. Obviously, I felt bad about not recognizing your name right away, but I actually am wondering, did I stop you by accident from being able to like either take a picture with Mango or like ask for his autograph or something? I didn't know what the speed was there, but I was like, he's right in front of me. I got to do this. Like, I'm never going to ask Mango for a picture again because I'm going to be cool after this. But right now, I'm a fanboy. This is someone I've watched for years. But did I stop you from having that interaction?
No, definitely not. No, you're all good. And I don't worry about not remembering my name. Is my Discord tag is a very common name, so and you did remember it eventually, so there's no need to feel worried about that interaction. And I Pounds was, I guess, since I've been to 2 Smash Cons, it wasn't my first time seeing those top players. Like, it's always crazy to see them in person. It's like, you know, kind of breaks the third wall of all these videos I've been watching. But it wasn't, I think I may have got a photo at the first Smash Con I went to or something like that. I wasn't gonna ask for a photo. And I think my girlfriend was at the venue that day, and I think she snuck a photo of me and Mango, so you don't have to you don't have to worry at all.
That's very cool, though. What'd she think of the tournament experience? Was that her first like big Smash tournament, or like, I'm saying big, like I'm hoping she's been to your own locals. I hope.
She hasn't. I'm living in Baltimore, and she lives in DC right now.
Totally fair. No, people who are going to be all like, oh no, Neil's not. No, that's not what's happening. DC traffic sucks. It's so bad. It is so bad. It's like you don't. It's a little slice of LA. See, for all of you West
Truly.
Coasters, now you know. Now you know. That's what DC is like. Crazy.
It is. But it was actually like the first Smash thing she'd been to ever, and we've been together 8 years. And well, she'd been to like Smash things at houses where I'm playing Smash with my friends and
Yeah.
other people around, but she'd never been to a tournament, or especially not a major, and she enjoyed it. I mean, I think what was that? That was Saturday. I think that's probably the best day to take someone to, because people are still playing pools, and then you get, I think the best spectator experience is like the top 64 type matches where it's a lot of close matches and you get to cheer for that, but it's not like you have to sit there for 3 hours straight. Like you can walk out of the venue and miss like the Swooper versus SFAT, which was a very exciting set. I did watch that one, but if you did want to walk out of the venue, you could at any point, and then still come back and watch the players you wanted to watch later. So yeah, no, she enjoyed it, and then we got food out with some of the William Mary guys after, and that was fun to talk with all those guys. But yeah, it was fun to take her to an event and see the scene through like a lens of very little knowledge. I taught her a little Melee. She was getting her Link. She decided to main Link, which
That's
not the
awesome.
best choice, but
did she get to see Aklo's Link versus Zane? Because we did get one Link low game versus Zane, and everybody was freaking out anytime Aklo got a hit. But sadly, it did not work out because Zane is Zane.
Zane was very dominant that tournament. I don't think we were in the main hall for that set, but maybe I'll show her. She can take notes.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of notes to take there. On Final Destination, Aklo's trying desperately to like secure edge guards and get Zane off the stage, and it was tough. But I felt like, so we were all hoping that it was going to happen first Final Destination game, but no, wait. Oh no, I know what happened. Sorry, let me rewind back a bit. So Aklo and Zane play game 1, and it's not close. Zane just smacks him around and wins the game. And Aklo is sitting there, and we can all tell he's thinking, do I go to FD and do I go Link? Because I think he understood my Fox is just not there right now, or it's not here today, or something. Like, I think we all started to understand that because he's just sitting there, he's thinking, he's like, and we could just tell, and we're like, there's murmurs, Link, but then that's like a game 2 is again like Fox versus Marth, and it's not close again. Now it's about to be game 3, and once again we could tell Aklo's like thinking, considering Link. And like everybody's going like Link, and so counterpicks FD and goes Link, and everybody's freaking out. So it's,
and that's a fun moment to be in the crowd for.
Right, exactly. It was like more for the fact that we were rooting for Link to come up. Yeah, it was less about the game 3, which was a wash, and more about the we got to see the Link.
Yeah, it's a unique counterpick. It's definitely I know Lod has like at least in one set not picked FD so he could just play the Fox on another stage. I think he's probably pretty confident in the matchup now, but to just have a character like that where people literally might not have played it at any sort of high level sense in maybe like 8 years, and like the character now has all the crouch cancel SDI stuff that they have to account for. So it's like probably a new matchup to them completely.
I would say it would not be a bad idea to follow Save State on Twitter, because you'll get to see a lot of cool Link stuff. But that's just me. That's one recommendation I can make for the Twitter. Okay, so we're almost out of Pound, but I wanted to ask you something. Okay, yes. So Lod finished, I want to say 5th. I think lost to AMSA during AMSA's loser run. Everybody was rooting for AMSA, it felt like, but Lod, of
Not
course.
me.
Well, yes, no, I know, because that's what I was about to say. This is Lod's region, so there was a lot of people rooting for Lod as well, and that was cool to see the back and forth in the crowd a little bit there. I would say the most back and forth happened between Amsa and Leffen. I literally have a video of it going Leffen, and more people are going Amsa, and it was just like really cool back and forth on that last stock on game 3, which it was just wild that Leffen got 3-0'd by Amsa. Anyway,
Yeah, that was
for
crazy.
for Lod's run, Lod is repeating a great performance. You see, I think a lot of people might see someone like Lod finish top 8 at Genesis and go, all right, cool. You know, that's great. I mean, do it again. But Lod did it again. So that's really, really cool. So I'm interested to hear your perspective, because this is someone that, not that you like know super personally well, because there wasn't any overlap, it sounds like, but you did have literally the same role that he would have had at one point, and know people, and I'm sure you've met him in person, so I'm just interested to hear like your perspective of like what does it feel like for someone like you, because it's sort of like, if it would be as if, let's say I take over 717 Melee stuff, and then Jay Bobison, let's say Jesse, like top 8s at all these big events. Like, I would feel so weird watching that. I would go like, what is happening? And I'd be so happy for him, of course. Jay Bobison, Jesse, if you want to top 8 at all these big events, you just go right on ahead and do that. But like that, I would not even know how to process that.
No, it's been like such an exciting time to be a Lod fan for sure. And yeah, although we didn't overlap, we've definitely been to a lot of events and met, and he's a very nice guy, as everyone in the region or who's ever met him knows. But yeah, it's just so cool to be a fan in general. Like when I got into Melee with the doc, like out of the doc, you know, I was a big fan of PC Chris, but you know, he's not playing anymore. And then, you know, I would root for Falco because I main Falco, but it's like I was never like a diehard Mango Nation or like all in on West Balls or anything like that. So I would just kind of root for, you know, in any given top 8, the matchups that I thought would be more interesting going forward, you know. But it's fun to just root for someone, you know, from pools all the way through, and just like every match, especially a player like Lod, where you know nowadays he can win every match, and you can just kind of cheer your heart out. It's been very fun, especially in the online era where he was able to participate a fair bit more, even during med school. To see him on the rise, and yeah, no, it was great at Pound. He was definitely a fan favorite early on in the top 8, and then I think as things went on, I think the most people cheered for him against Aklo, and by the time he got to AMSA, the crowd was firmly in AMSA's favor. But I don't think anyone ever is the fan favorite over AMSA. I think he's just in control of the crowd at all times.
It is tough because I think AMSA might not have and might not actually be as long of a Melee veteran in going to events in the way that Lod is, because Lod has been playing for like a long time. That's interesting for me to think, because I asked AMSA about when he first started playing and I can't remember off the top of my head of when he said, but it was probably about the same time, because it went a while before he actually ended up going to the United States to compete in Texas, stuff like that. So that's what I'm tripping myself over.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Right, but Lod said in his recent Radio Melee interview, he's Melee for 17 years. So that's just crazy to consider. Like, you can go a while. Players like Ginger as well. Ginger's been playing for a really long time too. You don't get there right away always, but then you just keep chipping away. You go to daggum med school, and now you're here. And actually, would you be in the same field in terms of like medical-y stuff? Johns Hopkins makes me think medical, but what's your school stuff focused on?
No, you're not wrong. It is a very med school focused university, but I'm a grad student hoping to get a PhD in chemistry. So I'm TAing all those med students that are unhappy to be in organic chemistry and trying to help them out.
PhD, Dr. Neil? What the heck?
Yeah, it's a long way off. It takes at least 4 or 5 years, but we'll see how it goes.
After 4 or 5 years of school, I'm just saying this is kind of ridiculous, but that's neither here nor there. You're going for it, so let's go, Neil. Yeah. You're reminding me of the Mango bit where he's like talking on Hungrybox's stream, talking smack, and then he deliberately turns it off as soon as Hungrybox enters the frame again. It was so funny, such a funny clip, but it's making me think about how much I hate college and school in general, because I'm like, it's a big old racketeering, like, money operation thing that sucks. Yeah. Nobody actually has a good time doing this. Oh, Neil, you're going for PhD? Let's go, Neil. Let's go, school.
You're not wrong. There's a lot to fix with the whole system. But I mean, the knowledge is there, and you can still be passionate about those sort of subject areas, even if you could probably do it all yourself with just some textbooks and
not only is the knowledge there,
YouTube videos,
but the friends are there. The melee is there. The melee that you play on the way, that's also very important as well. I will start to get us wrapped up here. I'm very appreciative of your time, Neil, especially because now that I know that you're going for PhD stuff, yes, it's a long road still, but that's just like crazy to think about. So good for you. I want to make sure that we tell the people where they can go to participate for the Baltimore Melee Weekly, where to find you on the Twitter, that sort of stuff. So any closing thoughts that you have, as well as the plugs, and go.
Yeah, no. Thank you for your time. This has been great. Definitely shout outs to William and Mary Smash, MDVA Smash. Everyone in the scene's been very welcoming and very supportive, especially of this new tournament I'm starting. I guess it's not starting anymore. It's been 10 weeklies. So if you are in or around the Baltimore area, you can type in your browser startgg now, startgg/BMW, which stands for Baltimore Melee Weekly. I believe it is at Baltimore Melee on Twitter and twitch.tv/Baltimore Melee. You can check out the weekly there. Also running monthlies now, so check those out. There's links to the Discord on my Twitter page. That's just a Discord I use to advertise and talk to the people in the region, coordinate bringing setups, that sort of thing. But all the events and stuff I run will be posted in that Discord as well.
And I really would love to go to a monthly here in the summertime, especially, I would say. But I don't know if it's not as of now, but you can catch me going to one of those. I'll be talking about it. I'll do the stuff I was talking to you about earlier. I am here. I'll literally post a picture of the venue with like my hand in it or something. See? Here. Yeah. We made it.
That's what I need. I greatly appreciate it.
Do one a little bit later of somebody playing Melee, and I'll be like, people are playing Melee. I'll try to make it a bit.
Yes.
For the 20 listeners, the 20 to 60 to 80 listeners of this bit of the episode, you'll know what we're talking about when I do these bits on Twitter, possibly months from now. This is really exciting. I'm really excited to hopefully be able to support you and see you again in person. It was really cool to see you at Pound. Neil, thank you so much for your support, and also for coming on to Bottom of the Smash Mountain to do the podcasting bit. I really appreciate all of your time. And yeah, so any last things, or are you good to go?
No, I'm good. I guess shout out to TOs. Keep it up.
Yes, shout outs to TOs. Thank you, TOs. Yes, thank you to TOs. And Neil, thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Have a good one.